Welcome back to this Jersey Girl's home. It's been a while since I've seen you guys, and I sure do miss you. It has been a hot minute since August when school came whipping around that corner.
Be a friend, leave a heart in the comments, like and subscribe.
If you're new, my name is Vicky. Hit that subscribe button and join the fun. It's been busy over here, so we have been working on a new schedule and it's been working out great, and I think that I'm going to be able to keep up with you guys now. It's been busy over here since school started back up in mid-August. Between homeschooling, sports, clubs, and activities, we are generally out of the house quite often. Having a senior, a freshman, and a fifth grader sure is keeping me on my toes. But that's not going to stop me from trying to do all the things that I love to do. But I guess that does mean first I have to make sure that I do all the things that I don't like to do, like cleaning, for instance, and laundry, of course. But cleaning the kitchen is something I have to try to do every day, and there are a couple days where we are just out so late even that, or in and out till late, that it just doesn't get cleaned, and there will be a day during the week that it all catches up to me. So I do try to keep my kitchen pretty tidy so that when I go to make things and dirty up a lot of dishes, that it doesn't get too overwhelming all the time. And I feel like someone's going to call me out on this, but I do like to wash my cast iron. I just don't soak it. I scrape it clean to get all the food out, and then I just use a Lodge cast iron washcloth with just a little bit of soap and give it a quick scrub and then dry it off. I don't have any problems with that stripping the coating or anything. I actually have the opposite. If I don't do this, I find that it strips the coating more often than if I just keep it clean and dry. So now it's all nice and clean and it can go in my drawer, and then it's just not messy and it's not rusting this way. Okay, so with all this talk about dishes, it's reminding me of this food situation. Like, holy guacamole, just when are the food prices gonna get any better? You think they're at their worst, and then they get worse again. And I'm just in awe of how ridiculous it costs to go to the grocery store. Absolutely ridiculous for a cart full of food that is going to get gobbled up so fast. So every weekend I have been diligently cooking as much from scratch as I possibly can to keep the cost of our groceries down more. And even though I keep adding more and more things to my cooking list, the costs aren't changing because they keep going up. So hopefully at some point we'll start to see a little reprieve, because all they keep doing is up, and I want them to go down. Anyway, though, it's been a good habit to get into of making more foods from scratch than I even was before. We love it. It tastes so much better. It's definitely much healthier. We don't have any added ingredients that we don't want to be eating. You know, they keep saying how they're removing all these ingredients that are dangerous for humans to be consuming. But I question, are they just going to replace those with ingredients that we just don't know what they are yet? So now, like, my trust is very gone with all this pre-made foods, and the fact that they just have so much salt in them or sugar. They have so much in them to make them taste good, or taste good enough to want the convenience, that you don't realize how unhealthy they are until you start consuming them or consuming something more healthy, and then you see the difference. It's kind of scary that they'll just sell us whatever to eat to make their profit, and the care for mankind is not even there. I don't know. Blows my mind. But anyway, everyone's loving all the homemade food I've been making, and I enjoy being in the kitchen, so it's very calming and relaxing for me to just be in the kitchen, get stuff done, see everyone coming in and out, and hang out with everyone. It makes me feel good to get to do all of that. So, my kids really love to eat pizza, and I always like to have like frozen pizza in the freezer for them to grab for a snack or a quick lunch or something, special treat, whatever they want it for. So the cost of that has been getting so tremendous, though, that I've figured out some ways to make it at home that they have been enjoying and is still super easy. So one of those ways is making French bread pizza. And I don't know why I ever didn't ever think to make that earlier, but I didn't. And I thought maybe some of you didn't either. So it's so easy. You just cut your loaf of bread in half and half again, so you have like a quarter of each side. Add your sauce, your cheese. I even was adding the garlic bread seasoning that we made in one of the pantry mix videos. So delicious. I wrap it in saran wrap, put 4 in a gallon freezer bag, and I'll easily make a batch of using 3 breads. So I end up with like 12 pizzas super fast. I mean, it's so fast to make, it's really easy. And so then they just can go in the freezer, grab their pizza, throw it in the toaster oven, set the air fryer on, and voila, they got some quick food, homemade, ready to eat. Just because food is homemade does not mean it has to be complicated. It doesn't have to be super time consuming. It doesn't have to be hard. It can still be delicious, easy, and ready for you in the freezer for any day. So that's my little tidbit on what's been a new update here. But I have been making more than just like one thing on the weekend. I'll make a whole bunch of stuff and get it in the freezer, and then everyone can, or, some things in the fridge, and everyone can just pick from that during the week. And um, for breakfast, lunches, snacks, it makes it very, very easy. And if our schedules are all very different, so at night, if we're not having dinner together or at the same time, then they can easily grab something and eat dinner without having to starve until everybody else is ready to eat, because that is just, our schedules are way too different during the week for those expectations anymore. So on this night, I'm cleaning up, and while I'm doing that, I'm thinking about what I'm going to make this weekend, because I did my grocery shopping earlier in the day, and now I'm cleaning up so that my kitchen's nice and ready for me to get all those dishes all dirty again and the counters all messy. But it's enticing when it's clean to start with, and then obviously it'll get cleaned in the end. But if I have a messy kitchen, then I'm just like not as motivated to cook a lot of stuff, because then I'm looking at all the dishes going, oh boy, that's not that's not fun. But if I have a clean kitchen, I'm ready to go and tackle a list of food and just be on my cooking spree and not worry about the cleanup. So that's just, you know, it's just so hard to buy prepared foods at the store anymore because they're just so expensive. But also knowing that they're adding ingredients that are just not good for us to be consuming or harming us when consumed, that that's definitely a driving force to make your own food. But yeah, so I went to the grocery store. I got some sale items or some just basic foods like chicken. There was a watermelon and it looked good, so we grabbed that. Um, just like spinach, eggs, milk, just your basic ingredients, nothing too fancy. And with that, I will see what needs to get prepped right away, what needs to get cooked, what I can prepare and put in the freezer, and what my family like is in the mood for. So if there's something that they want, like sometimes they like me to make chicken cutlets or Chick-fil-A chicken, and I'll make huge batches of it all in one day and get that in the freezer. So if we're getting low on those, then that's going to be something I plan to tackle because my kids absolutely love that, and it's very versatile as far as making sandwiches or dinners, stuff like that. So I definitely am looking at what we're lacking, what my family wants and what is on sale and what ingredients we have to make things with, and just working with that. Just kind of like a pantry challenge, but we're still buying our basic ingredients, and then hopefully next year we'll have a little bit more of an assortment because our garden, it produced, but it wasn't super abundant this year. So I have stuff that I did freeze and dehydrate and also freeze dry, but it's definitely not as much as normal. Um, so I'm very limited on my homemade pasta sauce, which is a bummer, but that's reality. Is not everything grows great, and some years, we're not as attentive as we need to be, and that's okay too. Like it I hope that I have more time next year to work in the garden and that the weather is better, and maybe I'll have an overabundance next year and I will can as much as I can, and maybe it'll last longer and not be an issue. So, anyway, in August, we did participate in the Every Bit Counts challenge by mostly freezing. That is mostly what I was able to do each day. And I did get gallon bags of tomatoes in the freezer. Um, I got gallon bags of sliced peppers in the freezer. I had already chopped and um, some random sliced peppers, but we did go through quite quickly the sliced sweet peppers. So I did a lot of that in my freezer this year. I freeze dried lots of shredded zucchini, which was really exciting because it came out really good. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. I have frozen shredded zucchini in the past, and I just felt like it came out like a soup. It was very, very watery and didn't look to have any structure when I pulled it out of the freezer. So I was kind of grossed out by that and not motivated to do that again. So I thought, well, I'm going to try the freeze dryer because we have it. And it did. It came out fantastic. So I'll be able to bake stuff over the winter using my load of zucchini. I also like that the shelf life is so long for that if I have a bad growing season, I know I have a backup of dry zucchini, shredded zucchini downstairs. So that's going to be really helpful for me in the future because whenever I do have a good year, I can save it like that. And then I don't have to worry about if I have a bad year not having any. Now, as soon as we have a good, empty, non busy weekend, I'm looking forward to pulling out our frozen tomatoes and turning that into pasta sauce to can because we did can some in August, but we are more than halfway through that amount already. So I really need to get some more made and might as well use the tomatoes that I have first. I did buy some store canned tomatoes from Costco because I know I'm not going to have enough to get us through a whole year. But I did get some tomatoes in the freezer, so I will work with those first before turning to the other tomatoes. So you know that what that means. That means there's canning weekend coming up. I don't know if I'm going to get to it before the holidays. It might be after the holidays because the holiday season, fall, is a very busy season for us. We're working hard on our homeschool. We're getting ready for winter. We have lots of birthday parties we throw in the fall season, and I host Thanksgiving, so I'll be working hard on that. The garden has to get all prepped for the garden has to get winter ready, and for that I like to clean up all the debris, get leaves in there so that they can kind of like break down in the soil. If I'm mulching, then I like to mulch. I did a soil test so that I could get whatever nutrients it was lacking in the soil early because I was reading that it was better to do that in the fall than it is the spring, that it works better. So I wanted to make sure to do that, and I did. And then I've just been planning out my garden beds and what I want to get put in them because I didn't have a huge gardening season this year, so I am really excited for next year because I feel very recuperated. Definitely am not feeling overwhelmed from the garden. I feel like I am ready to take on a really good season since I haven't been out there in a while, and that is a very special hobby to me. I love being in the garden and growing our food. I just think it's fantastic to see these little seeds grow into big plants, and then not only do they grow into these big plants, but they produce all this food that we can eat, and it's just so exciting to me. So I am looking forward to next year's garden. And so, yeah, I've been working a lot in the garden to get that all set up for winter. And my friend gave me some berry plants, which is so, so, so exciting. So I'll show you what I got and what I'm doing with them. I also got my garlic planted. Ooh, and you know what else I did? I took cut off the vines of my loofah plant. I cut the gourds off, so I kind of put them inside because they were still green. Now, I know you're supposed to wait till they're brown, but I had a frost warning and it was definitely going to be really cold, and I didn't want it to turn to mush, so I did cut them off the vine and bring them inside. I've kind of been like turning them on a counter to kind of dry, and I think I gotta look up what I'm supposed to do, but I think you have to bake them in the oven for a little bit to dry them out some more, and then I think we just peel them and wash them clean So I'm gonna look up how you do that. This is my first year growing loofah sponges, but I am so excited. I haven't like dived into cutting them open or looking at what's inside of them yet, as I'm a little nervous. I hope that they grew far enough that they turned into that dry sponge-like material because I think it is so cool to also be able to grow a plant that not just can feed you, but um, can do something like that. That's just so, I don't know. That's very exciting.
I don't edit
I
my
was even
videos well.
thinking
I think
about
the hardest part is making
next year,
them
like,
because
okay,
I
if
don't do like real life
we have a lot of
videos.
loofah this year, then
I
maybe
make
I'll
them
grow
like
like a
tan
birdhouse gourd, or
so
there's
that
those ones with
air can get
bead that
better.
make like a
Because I just
bead.
have to cut clips out.
And my daughter
Well,
doesn't really like
regularly
to
don't
make
have to do
jewelry,
that.
so but she does love to paint. So I was thinking, okay, the birdhouse gourd one would be really cool for her if I could get a bunch of those and she could paint and have fun with that. Um, that would be so cool. So we'll see what happens. If I don't feel like I have a lot of the sponges, then I probably will grow some more of those, stock up on that, and then once I get a good amount of those, then I can do the gourds. I'm not really sure. I might even do both. Who knows? Maybe I'll just go all in and do it all. But I gotta make sure I have the space for it. So we'll see. It was pretty exciting though to try something. That was something new I tried in the garden this year. And I did pull in gourds. I was very nervous because nothing was growing, just the vine was growing for a really long time. And then all of a sudden, it finally gave me the squash parts. And um, so that was like, it was a long time. And I was getting nervous. I was like, oh man, if I don't get them soon, I don't think they're going to be there by the time the season's over. But we did, and hopefully they grew far enough that they can be turned into sponges. Very excited if you can't tell. So, all right, let's check out this garden because we have a little bit going on here. And tell me what if did you grow anything new this year, or what do you think about all the different things you can grow in the garden? Does that fascinate you, or are you here for the food? Because you know what, I love food too, and I get that. Anyway, guys, I know it's been 2 months since I posted my last video. I know that's been a really long time. I've really missed you, and I've missed getting videos out to you. So I'm hoping now that we're kind of in the groove of all the new changes from the fall season, that I will be able to get a video out to you each Friday, or get a video out to you each Saturday. I may need some grace here and there, but that is my goal, and I'm really hoping that I can follow through with that goal. But I am also the person that wants to do 500 million things and forgets that time is limited. So when my time doesn't equal the amount of things that I want to do, sometimes I have to like decide what is going to happen at that moment. And obviously, it's going to prioritize with whatever commitment levels I have. And making food is going to be a huge one because otherwise, I'm spending $5 billion in the grocery store, and that's not sustainable. So I cook a lot from home. It's probably what you're going to see during the winter. Um, you'll also see me kind of work with things that I've preserved or that I've saved and need to get shelf stable. Um, yeah, the holiday seasons are coming up, and we're really excited about that. I love this time of year. It's just the weather's great. The family get-togethers are frequent, and it's it's just a fun, cozy time of the year, I think. Once the hardcore winter starts, and then it'll be time to start dreaming about that garden and getting the seeds started. Seeing all the planning and the fall chores pay off so that we could have a good spring and summer garden. Okay, so let's go check out what's going on in the garden right now. So after I got my grapes harvested, it wasn't long before the deer got into my garden. And we had a lot of backyard projects going on, so it was really easy for them to get in there at that moment. And they devoured most of the leaves on my grape plant. So I decided to prune them. And then the cold hit. So then I got my garlic planted. I have two hardneck varieties, Music and German Extra Hardy, that I got planted. And I also planted a softneck variety, Ichilum Red, I believe. So in between each grape plant, I have my garlic planted because they're good companion plants. And then over here in my back garden, I have planted all these berry plants. A lot of them were gifted to me from an absolutely wonderful friend. And so I now have like double gold raspberries, a whole row of, this one's the purple royalty, so this is the specialty one. And then I planted my pink lemonade blueberries next to that one. Behind that is my red raspberries. So those are the pink lemonade blueberries that I got from Baker's Creek. They were like little tiny, like 3-inch stems. And if the birds hadn't got the berries this year, I would have had them. But so I planted this vintage one in the spring, and we'll see if that lived through this tough season. This is a Latham red. And then over here are the Caroline reds that I planted from my friend. So I'm really excited to see this garden coming together so well. This was kind of like an unexpected space after we had to remove a rotting tree that we didn't realize was rotting. We actually had called just to trim the branches, and the whole center was rotted. So sometimes there are good things behind sad moments. It was a favorite tree of ours, so that was really sad. Here's a row of blueberry plants that we transferred over here. I do not remember the varieties though. And then I bought 2 new varieties that I planted behind those. It's Duke and Blue Crop. The colors on these are just so beautiful. I can't get over the vibrant maroon that is shining through. It looks pretty. And then these, I believe, are a Loch Ness variety of blackberry. I'm not positive, so if you guys know, just let me know. But it is thornless and looks it looks good. And then I also have a black satin blackberry that I had, and then the other one looked very similar, so I thought maybe that could be the same variety. So we'll plant those 2 together and hopefully they're similar. I also ended up with Mac Black raspberries, which is a black raspberry, and I'm not really sure where I want to plant that one yet because it is much more susceptible to disease. But this is how it's coming out so far. And in those white boxes up there, I'm going to put my strawberry plants because I really need to keep them covered and not exposed to any rodents or chipmunks or squirrels because they will devour them on me. Okay, well, thanks for hanging out with me. I hope to see you again next week.
Thanks for watching. You guys are the best.